Welcome back. So, as you can see, we're doing something a little different today. Every once in a while I get on Space Scam Day, and it's kind of a big day for Space Scam game. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it can actually be fun. Like, I've had some pretty fun adventures with a few of my friends just messing around out in the verse. But, let's be real, it's not a game that I would ever actually recommend anybody get into unless you really know what you're getting into. Regardless, it's a cool day to come and check out stuff, so let's check stuff out. So today is Aegis Day. For those of you that don't know, you can do rentals of, well, basically all of the things. I was curious to see what would be in here. I do want to go and do the tour at some point of the Idris. I don't actually have one, but one of my buddies does, so hopefully he'll be on later, and then it'll be a moot point. But I'm at least gonna rent a bunch of these so that I can screw around with them. Plus, you have them for 2 days, and they make for pretty good ships that you can just spawn and take from point A to point B that you don't really have to worry about too much. And it's nice to have a pile of extra ships that you can just pull out that you don't have to wait around for them to claim or anything. Plus, sometimes it's fun to just do something different, but I promise we'll walk around the hall in just a moment. Alright, that's probably all I care about in there. So, out here we have the big new releases, minus one massive release, but, you know, it is what it is. So, first we have this little Grey Cat buggy. It's neat that we're getting another ground vehicle. They've kind of hyped this thing up for its, like, cargo capacity, but to be honest, I think that this is kind of a gimmick, because it's little itty-bitty boxes, and honestly, who gives a shit about little itty-bitty boxes? I love that suit. I think I have the orange version of it. Honestly, it's not bad for like a one, maybe two-person buggy. I mean, size profile-wise, it's not that much smaller than an Ursa. It's like maybe one set of wheels smaller than an Ursa. It's definitely bigger than the Cyclone, though, so I mean, I don't know if you're really going to fit this anywhere that you couldn't already put an Ursa. It's neat, but with every ground vehicle, I just wouldn't bother picking them up in-game. It's just or picking them outside of the game. It's just a waste of money. You can just pick them up for a few 100,000 credits in-game. This one right here, though, this is one that I'm actually interested in. I have a Star Lancer. It's kind of a neat vehicle. I just don't know if I care enough to upgrade to attack, because I feel like the tax is kind of steep for what you're getting. I do like these little, I guess they're missile turrets here on the back. They're pretty nifty. I like that it keeps the full-size cargo bay. Excuse me. And I appreciate that it got a med bay, although I think these are only like tier 3 beds, and I don't know, like they're good enough, right? I'm spoiled by having a Carrack, even though I don't really use it that much. The jump seats are kind of a meme for me. I understand that at some point they say that they'll be relevant. I don't care. Plus, you can just slap shit down on like chairs down on a cargo grid if you really want to. These are the side turrets. They seem interesting. I'm really just curious what the gun arcs are going to be like on them. God, I wish seats took less time to get into. I had to reset my head tracking. Can I even power them on in here? Probably not.
Although Invictus is a celebration of the men and women who are about to ship off to begin.
Well, they stick out a little bit. The problem is they probably can't shoot in front of it.
It also gives our active service
Not being able to shoot in front is always going to be a little bit of a detriment. Plus, you've got the engine nacelle right there, so you probably can't really shoot up. So, I don't know. Gun arcs are going to be mildly scuffed. And then up here, as far as I know, everything's basically the same as the other one. And upstairs, I'm pretty sure the flight deck is just about the same. I still think they should swap those two rooms. I feel like you should climb up here and have the escape pods be one section back, and then have the flight deck be right here. But, yeah, flight deck seems basically the same. Nothing too exciting up here. They did swap where the mess hall's laid out. It's kind of like flipped. On the one that I have, the bar is over on this side, but in this one we have bunking over here. And then on mine, there's more like little apartments in this middle section here, but on this version, it instead swaps it out for a fighter bay, for whatever the little mini Guardian's called. They're cool. To be honest, I feel like it's kind of scuffed raising this up on a platform. I think if they'd left it at floor height, then you probably would be able to fit a folded arrow in here. And I feel like they just artificially limited this because they're a bunch of cucks. But other than that, I'm pretty sure everything else is effectively the same. So, I don't know if the TAC is worth the premium that they think the TAC is worth. I'll wait until I can, like, rent it and fly it and whatnot. It looked statistically like it was going to be extremely underwhelming, which is a shame. And Invictus just started, so I expect it to be pretty busy in here. Also, this whole, like, dismounting area, I kind of like it, but I kind of hate it. The engine pylon kind of blocks it, which is great for blocking incoming fire, but it also kind of sucks for getting off the ship quickly if you're trying to insert troops. I kind of anticipated that this whole area was going to, like, drop down, because it drops down on the cargo version, but apparently not. Anyway, on to the Asgard. Now, the Asgard, I don't know, I have an opinion on it. Basically, we've got this thing called the Valkyrie, and the Valkyrie is just a shitty Asgard. And the Asgard is just what the Valkyrie always should have been. See, it's big enough in here that you probably can get a Nova in here, just a tank, for those of you that don't know. And the main problem with the Valkyrie is that it's just too fucking small to fit anything that matters in it. This corrects that, but I feel like this should have just been a redesign to the Valkyrie, because the Valkyrie is a piece of shit, and this is more in line with what I think the Valkyrie should be. Plus, it actually has, like, a glass piece there. Like, it's kind of weird that they... I mean, the ladder's fine, but it's nice that they actually environmentally separated the crew quarters on this one from the area down here. Now, the only other thing up there is the bridge, but I don't really want to climb up there because ladders suck. But basically, it's a flying transport for people, vehicles, whatever, right? And, like, the Asgard, as far as I'm concerned, is exactly what the Valkyrie should have been and never was. So, let's take a look at the Guardian. and then we'll move on to 1 and 2 over there. So over here we have this new Guardian, which I don't know what the pricing on it's going to be like. If it's any higher than the one that I have, I don't have the normal one. I have the fancy one that can do the pulse that, like, quantum snares people or whatever. Basically, my understanding is that this one has a shitload of missiles and it has 4.64 guns, which I would be down to upgrade to this if it's like a $5 upgrade. If it's not, like, if it's the same or less, then I would completely ignore it. But I don't need the, like, living space on the other ones. Having the extra components is cool. So I fuck with this thing. I think it's cool. Although I would want to actually get out there and test it and fly it, and unfortunately, these jackasses don't have these rentable yet. So, alas, we will have to wait a few more days. So, on to the event halls.
The UEE Navy is proud to welcome Aegis Dynamics back to Invictus Launch Week. Though they have created some of the most iconic...
Alright, so like I mentioned before, today is Aegis Day, so all the fun little Aegis toys are going to be out here. Traditionally, you can rent a lot of this stuff just by going up to the little tablets, but maybe not this time. So the Avenger Titan's a pretty nifty ship. It's basically a starter plus. It's really popular. I like it. I'd recommend it to somebody. Some of my friends kind of liked it because it's reminiscent of like a space shuttle. I'm surprised that they have it like fenced off since it's such a common like basic ship. Normally you can like walk around on everything, but let's head to the fighters. I guess the neat thing with the Titan is it's kind of like a jack of all trades. You can kind of do whatever with it. A little bit of fighting, a little bit of transporting. Interesting. I guess they're just doing this little hodgepodge where they're bringing out stuff from all the manufacturers. I kind of thought that this would be more like Invictus, or not Invictus, like IE, where the hall's just completely filled with one manufacturer exclusively. So here's an F8. This thing's pretty sick. The one over there is an Arrow. This is kind of like the premier heavy fighter, although the heavy is kind of an overstatement. Like, it's well armed, I just don't know if I would consider it heavy the way that it flies. Where the Arrow's like a little light fighter. This is the one I was talking about. You might be able to squeeze it in that bay, but I feel like the geometry they did in there makes it so you just barely can't fit an Arrow, which is really scummy of them. But they tend to do that sort of thing. Let's see, here we have a Mirai Guardian, but which one are you? Looks like one of the normal ones. So more like the one that I have, but slightly different. I'm curious, I don't really know ship DPS numbers that well, but I'm curious how having 4 size 4s would compare to 2 size 5s. Which is what I believe these things come with standard. Yeah, so you can kind of see the difference. This one's got like living quarters back here, but again, I do not give a single fuck about living quarters. Complete waste of space in my opinion. It's a fighter. But when if you want to log out, I'm just gonna fucking log out because logging out in beds is dumb. So here we have a Scorpius. It's our version of an X-Wing. They're pretty cool. Depends on the version. Little fold-out wings, missiles, whatever. Uh, they're two-person, although I feel like they both should be single-seaters with like an option for the second guy to get in there. This one's the Gladius. I like the Gladius. It's like the premier light fighter. Because it's from Squadron 42, so it gets updated all the damn time. It's cool. It's like basically the F-18 of this game. Although this is Starcuck, so we don't have any of the cool weapons employment that you get on an F-18. We just have missiles that, depending on the patch and depending on the state of the servers, either work or don't work. But no bombs, no ATGMs, no anything fun like that. Onwards to Event Hall 2. I know I probably sound kind of negative about this game, but like, when you've been around Star Citizen as long as I have, you're not exactly chipper. It is a cool game, and if you know how to make fun with your friends in a sandbox environment, it can be really cool, but it's prohibitively expensive for getting to that cool factor. Like, it's in a state now, finally, that you don't need to spend more than a starter ship's value to really get into the game and have fun, and like, you can earn all of these now in-game, which is great. Back when I started playing, you couldn't. So like, realistically these days you can get an Avenger Titan, and like, that's all you need. You never need to spend money on another ship in the game. But most people will want to just buy something cool. And if you want to buy something cool, it's not like going and playing War Thunder or playing, like, I don't know, in like World of Tanks or World of Warships or whatever with like normal pricing. Like, the pricing in this game is absolutely bonkers. I'm honestly surprised that they have components out on display. It's one of those things that I'm gonna have to like look it up and see if there's anything that's worth a damn out here. I feel like chances are they're just displaying relatively normal components. I'd be kind of surprised if they had some like really nice military grade, like class A whatever out here. Or like stealth components, I guess, are much more popular, but you know, I'd be surprised if they had stuff like that out here. For those that are curious, that's a Terrapin Medic. It's actually a pretty cool ship, but I think it should have had more than one bed in it. This is a Mantis. It's like the primary electronic warfare ship in the game. It doesn't like confuse sensors, just rip ships out of quantum, so it's like a spike strip. That one is an MPUV cargo, or MPUV tractor, or whatever. It picks stuff up and puts stuff down. It's like a little sky crane. And that one is a C-8 rescue. It's like a little ambulance. Pretty nifty. Fits in other ships. Like, don't get me wrong. They do a great job of making different ships and making them kind of cool. The problem is they make everything like a mile wide but an inch deep, and so most of the gameplay just isn't there. And even like when we do have gameplay loops for things like mining's pretty well fleshed out. I'm actually going to go downstairs and see if there's anything cool down there before we go over to the left side. Even though mining is like pretty cool and pretty fleshed out, it's kind of inconvenient, and it's still predicated on the game actually working, and the game very frequently likes to not work, which is really the main issue. Though supposedly this is the year of stability. I think these are the store packs that are available now. They have like little camos that they share with different ships. This one actually looks kind of cool.
The UEE Navy is proud to welcome Aegis Dynamics back
Yeah,
to
they're nifty.
though they have created some of the most iconic and decorated naval ships in our history.
Yeah, these are the other two rovers that I was talking about. So this is the one that I said the MTC upstairs isn't enough smaller than for it to matter. And this is the slightly smaller one. Like, there's more room on here for people. I mean, it doesn't really matter when it comes to moving boxes around because none of them are, like, the right size really to move multiple SCU around. SCU being the, like, standard cargo measurement unit.
The Navy maintains an active, versatile fleet of ground vehicles as well, whether for logistics,
Yeah, I don't know, like, this thing's nifty. Like, I'm never going to be upset that they come out with a new vehicle. It's just, instead of investing time into this shitty contraption that loads, like, quarter SCU or, like, eighth SCU boxes into it, I would have rather you just made this thing capable of having, like, an 8 SCU box just slapped on the back. Or at least, like, a 4 SCU, or, like, several 1 SCUs, just something. Oh my god, guys, it's the Super Hornet Mark II! These things are kind of nifty when they've got the gun pack, which this one does not. I mean, all of the Hornet Mark IIs and the Super Hornet Mark II are cool. I just think that the, like, fancy bespoke top turret is particularly neat. I mean, the ship itself kind of is what it is. When they're available in-game, I'll probably grab one. Let's see, this is another F8, just in a different livery. F8s are cool. I like the F8. It's expensive for what it is, though. And they're kind of, like, unavailable. It's an issue that this game has far too much FOMO. For example, we have one of our quote-unquote capital ships that just came out today, and you can't really get it because they sell them in limited numbers. Yep, a digital good in limited numbers. So in addition to being exorbitantly expensive, they also, like, I don't know. I'm sure they will sell it multiple times throughout the week and all that because, like, they do want to make money, but I don't know. This is the Redeemer. I think the layout in it is fucking retarded. They, for some stupid fucking reason, flipped it and put the beds down here. And the fighting deck is upstairs. Why it has a dedicated deck to beds is fucking beyond me. Like, they should fold out from the walls onto these chairs. Or, like, you should put a fucking sleeping bag on the floor. But why a military dropship, gunship thing needs to have a dedicated bay of beds on the first floor, where realistically that's where I'm going to put troops to, like, drop them off, beyond me. Still, it's kind of fun to fly around in one if you've got, like, 3 or so people to, like, man most of the weapons. Because some of them are pilot-controlled, some of them are not. Like, I'm pretty sure that the ones under the little winglets and the nose turret are all pilot-controlled, or can be, and then you throw your gunner on this one here, and on that one up there. I don't know, it's gotten more maneuverable. I think it was more interesting when it flew like a brick, but then they announced the Paladin. This is a Vanguard. I don't know which one. We'll see when we get on. I'm a big fan of the Vanguard, though. This is the Harbinger. It's got torpedoes. I think they're like size 5s. It's pretty cool. It's a heavy fighter. I like the Vanguard. I had a hoplite for a while, which is like the dropship version, but eventually I turned that into something cooler. They're a little bit expensive in-game credit-wise for what they are, but if you ever get your hands on one, they're pretty fun to fly. Let's see, I believe these are all torpedoes. Yep. Torpedoes. So this big thing here is basically our starship version of the Atlanta. It's like an anti-air barge. It's got like a turret on each of these winglets that sticks out, so it's got like, what, 4 of these, plus one on the roof, plus like one on the bottom, I think, for like 6, give or take. They're all quad mounts. They're all pretty cool. Plus as the pilot, you get some missiles. It's kind of an old ship. It probably needs some sort of redesign. And if they do redesign it, I really hope they get rid of this. If for whatever reason it's got this hole in the middle, it's basically just empty space that they could have done literally anything with. But all things considered, it's not a bad ship. I've just never particularly been a fan of it. But that's more of like my personal issue than it being a bad ship. I think the Hammerhead's fine. It's just not for me. I think the Polaris is closer in line to what I would have liked, although I think some of the like elevator and ladder positioning in it is scuffed. But besides that, generally speaking, I like the Polaris, but generally speaking, I don't care for the Hammerhead. I don't know. Like I was saying, part of it might be that we've had the Hammerhead for so long and I'm just so over it at this point. I don't know. To be honest, it's never really done it for me. Maybe if the ramming with it actually, you know, did something cool. But it is effective. It'll be more effective if we ever actually get blades that can control guns, but it seems like we have some sort of flight blade that just came out with this update that changed flight performance, which, neat I guess, but not really what I was looking for. I think it's like their first attempt at implementing some sort of engineering, since engineering was supposed to be out like 6 months ago at least. So this looks like it's really just a display for the Asgard, so they can show off that it actually fits things inside of it, unlike its cousin. And it allows them to show off all of their little ground vehicles, which are all really cool, but the problem is there's nothing to do with them because there's no real, like, ground missions that require ground vehicles. Like, there's bunkers, but... So what they really need is they really need to come out with a mission where you either need to attack or defend a town, and that town has, like, 20 or 30 enemy ground vehicles of various types, whether they're Cyclones or Novas or whatever the hell this thing's called. Storms. And then you might actually have a reason to get a Nova and drop it onto the surface. But as it stands, like, I can just show up, do a bunker mission, and leave, and call it a day. Novas are super cool, though. We actually did the math on the size of this thing. This thing's enormous. It's like the size of a mouse. It doesn't look like it, but it is. It's like the size of a mouse. But, I mean, I guess it's big enough that you can get in the back, walk up a ramp, and walk around inside of it, and I don't know if you've ever been inside a tank, but like I have, because when I was for context, when I was a kid, I used to live up in Illinois, and there's a place called Cantigny there, which is a tank museum. And back when I was a kid, you could go and climb in a lot of the tanks there. So TLDR, most tanks you cannot just like walk around inside. They're not that spacious.
Although Invictus is a celebration of the men and women who are about to ship off to begin their trade.
Still, it's nice that you'll actually be able to fit these on here. I'm curious if we'll be able to get two. Obviously it's designed for one, but I think if you take one of them and drive it like all the way up to the front here, you might be able to park a second one behind it. Especially with like the ramp, because the ramp's actually fairly steep when you close it. So you might not be able to really run it up the ramp, but I mean you can definitely put it up against the ramp. I bet I could get two on here. I suspect that the like AA transport, whatever, like the big fuckers over there, those three, I suspect they're too wide to get two on, but you might be able to squeeze two in there. I think they're probably too long and too wide. But if you put them right up against the bulkheads on like the left and the right, maybe you could squeeze two of them in there side by side. I don't know.
The Navy maintains an active, versatile fleet of ground vehicles as well, whether for logistics, transport, or even exploration operations.
I wish there was more stuff to do with the ground vehicles in this. I'm a big fan of planetary assault and planetary invasion when it comes to pretty much anything that will allow me to do that. Like rapid shock assault tactics have traditionally kind of been my thing. When I started playing tabletop Warhammer, back around like 6th edition, I started with like a combined Deathwing Ravenwing army that was all about just like rapid maneuver and like lightning assault. So I fuck with that sort of thing. So it would be very cool if we could get stuff like that in-game. Yes, and here's the schedule. So we're on the 15th, 16th for Grey Cat and Aegis. Although, like I said, I thought there would be more Aegis stuff out in here, and they actually have a surprising, like, variety from various different manufacturers. But in a couple of days, we'll have RSI, Origin, and Argo. Then we'll have Misk Day, which is probably the one that I care about the most, like Misk Day and Drake Day, because I want to see if the Ironclad comes out. If the Ironclad comes out, I want to upgrade my M2 into an Ironclad Assault. But if not, then I don't know, fuck it, I guess. And I want to see if I can go and track down the Idris Tor at IO North Tower Rooftop. Okay, so I guess we gotta do it from Arcorp Plaza. I feel like that guy's gonna be so confused. So, one of the neat things that they do in this, is they give you these cities, and they're like, well and truly proper cities, with like tram, bus, whatever, depending on the city that you're in. We're on Area 18 right now, which is actually traditionally my character's home. I bounce back and forth between here and Hurston. But Area 18 is kind of like the cyberpunk city. It's kind of Coruscant-esque in that the entire planet is all city, and it's just separated into these various numeral districts. So, Area 18 being one of them, but, you know, there's, like, an Area 19 and an Area 20, right? The other one that I frequent is Hurston. Hurston's kind of the more drab, dreary, like Blade Runner-esque themed city planet. It is just a city on the planet, though. Most of the planet is actually kind of nice. But, the city itself is a polluted hellscape. But I go to these two primarily as my home because they just work. I run into issues with Microtech and with Crusader all the damn time, even though Orison on Crusader is really pretty. I've had, like, more issues spawning stuff in, like ships and whatnot, on those particular planets, so I tend to avoid them as my home system. Although, to be honest, making Area 18 my home for this might have been a mistake, since everybody and their brother's going to be on, and we'll see how well the local server decides to handle that. But yeah, it's kind of neat that you can take shuttles around. Makes the cities feel more like cities. The only downside is that, generally speaking, Star Citizen has zero respect for your time. And mechanics like this make it so that when you do run into trouble and you have to respawn, things take a lot longer than you might otherwise want them to. I'm pretty sure it should be at the top of that ArcCorp tower. Yeah. Hence all the Invictus signs. I am a little bit curious if you actually get a trial flight with the Idris if you subscribe right now. Because normally subscribers get access to the new ships for like a week or whatever. But, we'll see.
Welcome to IO North Tower, Area 18's Premier Centre.
Did I...
Please consult any of our associates for help or rent.
Yeah, I got off on the wrong floor, didn't I? Me big brain. Me much smart.
Welcome to IO North Tower, Area 18's Premier Centre for Business Development. Please consult any of our associates for help or rental opportunities.
I'm curious if that Polaris mission's any good. I saw it pop up when I first got on, and it like offered it to me. But I figured I'm just gonna be running around checking this out, so.
Welcome to IO
Yeah, I
North
didn't think
Tower,
so.
Area 18's Premier Centre for Business Development. Please consult any of our associates for help or rental opportunities.
There we go. Okay. Let's try ArcCorp Tower. It said it's at the top, so. Huzzah, we made it. Alright, what's this? IFR MS-7 turret by Aegis Dynamics. Missile turret. Nifty. Unleash your potential. Now those are pretty cool. These are new to me. I wonder if they actually have new torpedo types in the game that you can actually equip. Yeah, because this is definitely a different torpedo. This bearing one, this is more in line with what I'm used to seeing on the Polaris. I'm curious if you can actually get these ones, though, and slot them in instead. It's pretty cool, though. Don't fall. It's a long drop. So I have actually been on an Idris before because, you know, sometimes we fight on them during the events. But I haven't really taken the time to really explore it much. To be honest, though, the Idris is one of the ships that I personally would rather like to get. Mostly because it has a flight deck. So it's like a little pocket carrier. Nice. Way to be stuck. This thing is definitely a maze. Look at that, it actually has a well and proper med bay with a variety of bed classes. If only after how many years? A decade? If only we actually had working escape pods. Can I not get in you? No? Guess not. Shame. I was going to try to use that to orient myself and see where we were on the ship. Obviously we are looping around, though. So this is a cargo bay. The question is, how do you access this cargo bay? Like, this must be an elevator, right, that goes up and down, because there ain't no fucking way that anybody is bringing cargo through the ship and stuffing it in here. I tell you this as somebody who has... Get the fuck out of the way. I tell you this as somebody who spent a decent amount of time loading and unloading cargo, and I have no idea where that door goes or why it won't open, but fuck it. But, yeah, this had better be an elevator. If this isn't an elevator, then you got me fucked up, dude. Because I promise you, no one is going to be carrying cargo through the hallways here. Reminds you of Halo, doesn't it? It's probably where they got the inspiration. Looks good, though. That's a pretty good sized brig. Shame. Looks like we can't do much with here. Let's check out the briefing room. I know we need to double back because I do want to go and check out the bridge at some point. See, there's a turret over there. There's 2 entrances to this briefing room. Okay. One would expect that there'd be pretty quick access from here to the flight deck, but I'm often disappointed. Escape pods. Oh. Okay, so we're at the back of the ship over here. Well, that Orion hates us. So we've got some sort of back turret there. Interesting, interesting. I'm building like a mental map of this thing because I'm sure that I'm going to spend some time on these. Ah, the armory. Very cool. More armory. And this likely goes up to the bridge. Let's see, we've got turret here, turret there, and then this goes up to the bridge. Now the bridge is on its own little, like, it literally is a bridge between 2 parts of the ship. It's kind of neat, but it's also kind of overly exposed. I guess that elevator goes down there. You can kind of see what I mean. Like, we are very much so just hanging out up here. Which, like I said, cool, but from like a strategic design perspective, I kind of hate it. I think it's overly exposed for no good reason. It's not like a Navy ship where you need to be high above the ship to see like your spaceship. Realistically, CIC probably should be in the middle of the ship in like the most fortified area. And like I get like Star Citizen BS. This isn't really glass, it's an aluminum alloy that's transparent. Okay, I get it, but even if this is a metal box, it's still just exposed hanging out up here. Which personally I am not a fan of. Moving on from there, see if we can't figure out how to get downstairs to the flight deck, which you can see through here. I'm pretty sure that we saw a staircase to it at one point, but my dumbass decided not to take it. Control room, hangar, there we go. So this has got to be, well, they've got one over there as well, but this has got to be like ATC for the hangar. This is the area where I've spent most of my time just running around shooting like pirates, basically. Also the main reason why I care about this ship, because you can land like half a dozen, maybe not half a dozen, but no, you can okay, so I was gonna say you can land like half a dozen ships in here. Like, realistically, if I get a bunch of Gladius, I could probably land a dozen of them, if not more, in here, and, you know, make like a whole air wing. But I probably can also get bigger stuff in here, which is what I care about. The problem with the Idris, it's like, you can bring, like, arrows or gladius or whatever, you could probably tuck them into the sides here and then land bigger stuff in the middle. The problem is there's nowhere to store ships in here. So, like, you basically just have a flight deck and then nowhere to put anything. It's always kind of been my problem with it. It's like, sure, you can take, like, a gladius and you can slide it over here and you can have this be like your little maintenance bay for it, but like you're doing maintenance on a gladius here while there's a Valkyrie flying in through the back, touching down and like picking up a platoon of Marines. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it just seems like an awfully busy area to be doing maintenance if you think about it. Neat. Cargo lift. One would hope that this goes up to that cargo deck that we were in before, but one can also guarantee that it does not. Are two of these, though, which is nice. I mean, realistically, I feel like just end up filling that room with cargo. Yeah, this is basically a cargo deck. Do you really expect me to, like, load cargo up here, though, and then, like, take boxes through the hallways to the other one? I don't know. Back when it was automatically done, that kind of made sense, but nowadays, when we have to do all of the cargo movement ourselves, it's, I don't know, mildly scuffed. I feel like they probably needed to think more about cargo placement in this. But Drew, it's a military ship. Yes, but military ships need cargo too. I don't know. Regardless, even though this thing's overpriced as fuck, even though it probably has design flaws that I haven't even really, like, poked at, besides, like, the surface level couple of scabs that I've picked at, it's a cool ship, and I still want one. Like, I didn't really want the Polaris, hence why I don't actually have a Polaris. But I do actually kind of want one of these. Huh. So this is an MPUV room, huh? I wonder if that goes up and down. Because, like, the ceiling sure as hell doesn't open. It says MPUV in here, though. So they gotta be able to, like, drop out of the floor. Although getting down here is mildly inconvenient. Ah, that explains a lot. Got the generator down here. I'm like, why is this one random armed guard down here? Oh, no. No one is blowing up the city. Yeah, like, I could see how you could fit MPUVs in here. I just feel like this needs to be able to drop down, and I just don't know if it does. Yeah, hangar control. But I can't use that. I just need to get my hands on an actual Idris, not this fucking display Idris. So I can see, like, I understand we're floating over a city. They probably don't want people opening the bottom and then falling and then being like, oh my god, I fell out of the Idris, where? But, I'm way more interested in seeing what you can actually do with the Idris, and much less in just walking around and being like, oh wow, what a quaint ship here. I do want to go and check out the engine room, though. I'm pretty sure I saw a sign for that up here and ignored it. It's honestly smaller than I thought it would be. Going through, like, the rest of the inside of it. It's not bad, but, I don't know. Thought it'd be bigger. Should probably check out that at some point as well. Ooh, nifty. Fancy. Honestly, doesn't seem that much better than being stuck in the engine room on, like, an actual warship. Which, I don't know how much you've spent time crawling through World War II ships, but on occasion, when I find one, I do go crawling through them, and let me tell you, being stuck in the engine room on one of those would suck ass. They are small, well, relative, right? But they are small and dark. This must be the one that goes to the bridge. Yeah. Nifty. I mean, that obviously means that the bridge is secured more than perhaps I give it credit, but yeah, no. Yeah, that's what I thought. That cargo bay and this cargo bay are two different cargo bays. And I can't open that up to see what's in there, although I'm curious. And as far as I can tell, this doesn't really go up or down. Strange. At least there's escape pods, like, virtually everywhere. Alright, well, that's basically it for Invictus Day 1. That's been the Idris and the event floor so far, and my ramblings as I've walked around it. So, I think it's cool. I need to get on an actual Idris before I have, like, a real opinion on the ship. To be honest, like, it seems like it's going to be cool. It seems like it's more up my alley than the Polaris. That being said, I also know from experience with the Polaris that, like, most of the time we don't use its full slew of features, so it's what it is. So as per usual, get out there, kick ass, take names, and win your games.